Son is dying after a car accident, and finally, his father discovers who his doctor really is. But before we get into the video, please click that like button and also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our future videos. It's never a good idea to jump to conclusions for many. It can be difficult not to jump to conclusions because it often happens before you even realize that you're doing it. It can be especially difficult not to jump to conclusions when you are going through something very difficult. In this story, a son was dying after a car accident, but then the dad discovered who the doctor really was. The story begins when a young boy is brought into the hospital in need of emergency surgery. A doctor got a page and he rushed to the hospital to perform the surgery. When he got the page, he answered it right away. He quickly arrived at the hospital, changed into his scrubs, and headed to the surgery wing of the hospital. When he was heading to the surgical suite where he would be operating, he found the boy's father in the hallway pacing. He was waiting for the doctor to let him know what was going on with his son. When the panicked father saw the doctor, he let his emotions get the best of him. He said to the doctor, "Why did it take you all this time to come? Don't you know that my son's life is in danger? Don't you have any sense of responsibility?" Well, this type of outburst was uncommon for the father, but knowing that his son was critically injured and needed help, it made it difficult for him to keep his feelings in check. The doctor understood how the father was feeling, so he did not take the outbursts personally. He smiled and calmly told the father, "I'm sorry, I wasn't in the hospital and I came as fast as I could. After receiving the call now, I wish you could calm down so that I could do my work and save your son." Unfortunately, the doctor's words didn't calm the boy's father. His son had been hit by a car and was seriously injured. That was all the dad could think about. The father responded harshly by, "Calm down what? If your son was in this room right now, would you calm down? If your own son died while waiting for a doctor, what would you do?" The father was very angry and worried, and the doctor understood. It's why he remained calm while being berated by the frightened man. He remained calm and said, "We will do our best by God's grace, and you should also pray for your son's healthy life still." This did not calm the father down. He continued by saying, "Giving advice when we're not concerned is so easy." It seemed as though nothing could calm this worried father down. No matter what the doctor said, the man still looked to him like the villain. The doctor could no longer try to appease the worried father because he needed to operate. He left the father pacing in the hallway. Still as angry as ever. After several hours, the doctors came out of the operating room, and the doctor had a smile on his face when he saw the boy's father and said, "Thank goodness your son is saved." The doctor had saved the man's son's life. However, he couldn't stick around. He didn't even wait for the man to reply. As he was running down the hall, he told the man to speak to the nurse if he had any questions. This really angered the man. He approached the nurse and asked why the doctor was so arrogant. He asked why he couldn't just take a few minutes to discuss his son's condition. It was bad enough. The doctor took a while to arrive at the hospital, and now he couldn't stick around long enough to talk to him. Well, the nurse looked at the man and there were tears falling down her cheeks. She told the man that the doctor's son had died the day before in a car accident. She told the father that he was at his son's burial when he got the page to go operate on the man's son. She added that, since the surgery was over, the father had to go back to his son's funeral. The father was floored. He couldn't believe the way he treated this grieving father, who had just saved his son's life right after losing his own son's life. This story is proof you cannot make snap judgments, especially if you haven't walked in the other person's shoes. Subscribe for more, yo.